Chapter 959. Even newcomers are different amongst themselves. Katlia turned her body slightly to the side and looked at the magician. It's a little complicated. I suggest that you wait for another 1 to 2 weeks. I'm unable to promise anything. All I can say is that there should be someone to help you create the mystical item when the time comes. Should be someone. It also means that it might not be the original artisan. Does this mean that she's planning on nurturing an artisan for herself? Or could it be that she's thinking of a way to turn the original artisan into a sealed artifact, using a machine to create machines? Ma'am Hermit is indeed an experienced beyonder. Leonard listened quietly while doing some analysis. It was the first time he was this serious during a meeting. No problem. Fors had the utmost confidence in Ma'am Hermit. After all, she had already obtained the mythical creature's blood and was likely to undergo a qualitative change in time. At this moment, she heard the world say with a hoarse voice, "If this matter requires my help, you can get my help." To Klein, the mother tree of Desire's abnormal interest in the gray fog, as well as Emperor Roselle's warning to be careful of the moon, which made him, who was determined to figure out the secret of transmigration and the door of light, take note of matters involving the Rose school of thought and the primordial moon believers more than ever before. Furthermore, the artisan was now involved in both matters. Katlia never expected the world to offer his help. After some silence, she nodded slightly. "All right, if I'm unable to handle it, I'll seek your help through Mr. Fool." She had deliberately said, through Mr. Fool, to inform the two newcomers that the Tarot Club had a magical way of contacting one another. There was no need for them to be stumped or be in a dilemma in such aspects. It was something they would understand in due time. As the pirate admiral with the highest bounty across the 5 seas, and as a pirate crew leader of hundreds of subordinates, she wasn't doing this solely out of goodwill, nor was she worried that the two newcomers would affect the progress of the gathering because of excessive questions. Instead, it was a way to assert dominance in front of newcomers. Of course, unless time was of the essence, leaving Katlia no time to set up a ritual, she would in fact rather summon Jayaman Sparrow's messenger than trouble Mr. Fool. Seek help through Mr. Fool. Zio vaguely understood something and held back her urge to look at Fors. Seek help through Mr. Fool. Leonard's thoughts raced quickly as he made a guess. Seeing that someone had begun, he relaxed a little and deliberated for a few seconds. Then, he said, "I need a mystical item." "What kind?" Audrey answered at the perfect time to prevent an awkward atmosphere from descending upon the area. Leonard verbally showed his indecision and subconsciously replied, "I don't know." He only had such a plan, but he hadn't thought carefully into the details. He only realized that there was this possibility after being pulled into the gathering. Doesn't know, is he an idiot? The fool Klein, who knew Leonard's desultoriness and casualness, resisted the urge to laugh and criticized him inwardly. Seeing everyone's gaze fall on him with mixed expressions, Leonard immediately felt embarrassed as he hurriedly added, "I mean, there are no limits on the type. As long as it's geared towards offense, has rather stealth-oriented attributes, and lesser negative side effects, it would be fine by me." This was to boost his nightmare's control to its full extent. At times, he could control a target by himself, while Pallas Zarost controlled the mystical item, giving the dazed opponent a lethal strike. Once he became a spirit warlock, with a natural spirit or wraith or shadow sealed in his teeth to aid him, he could do 2 or even 3 things at a time. After Mr. Starr finished his explanation, Alger didn't harp over the details. He asked, roughly what level is needed. Somewhere around a grade 2 sealed artifact, but slightly stronger. Corresponding to sequence 5 or 6. Leonard had habitually described the item using the parlance of an official beyonder before switching to more common terminology. At that instant, a thought flashed across the minds of Audrey, Katlia, Alger, and Zio. Mr. Starr is an official beyonder, or at least he once was. From their point of view, although beyonders that didn't belong to any official organization would at times use the concept of grades when describing sealed artifacts, they wouldn't consider using such a vague description when precision was needed in expressing their thoughts and requests. One would often choose a method of explanation that was more direct and easier to understand. Therefore, the conclusion easily appeared. This way, things turned way more interesting. Mr. World is actually very familiar with an official Beyonder. How did they get to know each other? Why would he rope in an official Beyonder into the Tarot Club? Audrey didn't say a word as she maintained her state as a spectator while enjoying herself. At this moment, Alger tersely acknowledged. A mystical item at sequence 5 costs at least £9,000. For one that matches your request, it can typically exceed £12,000. Very frank, Leonard nodded. I understand. After hearing his reply, Klein nearly facepalmed as he sighed inwardly. Aren't you showing your hidden card to Mr. Hanged Man by doing so? I dare bet that if he has something suitable, the price will definitely be above £12,000. Aside from the £7,000 from Tinder, Leonard still actually has other savings. With the guidance of a grandpa from the Marauder pathway, he has likely amassed quite a bit. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to purchase Tinder. I get it. He's not afraid of being fleeced because he still can purchase from the Hermits of Fate. He can compare the traits and prices from both sides, but the problem is that gathering happens once every half a year. It's totally not at the tarot gatherings pace. At this moment in time, Klein couldn't help but consider selling items to the deer poet that had repeated effects or were of little use after becoming a demigod. He then heard Mr. Hanged Man reply in a deep and calm manner, "All right, I'll keep an eye out for you." Okay, Katlia and the other members expressed their stance as well. Following that, there weren't any transactions, allowing the gathering to automatically enter the free exchange segment. Without waiting for Mr. Hanged Man to inquire, Derek raised his hand and said, "I'm already back in the City of Silver. The chief has informed me that we will begin another round of preliminary explorations of the Giant King's court shortly. Does he mean that I should make use of this time to advance to become a priest of light?" Giant King's court? Explorations of the Giant King's court. Leonard cast his gaze to the pubescent youth 1 seat away from him in surprise. From what he knew, the Giant King's court had already been destroyed long ago in the second epic. Pallas Zoroast, as an angel, had already said that it had vanished from the rivers of time. To his surprise, the son of the Tarot Club was about to explore the area, but none of the members were astonished. Yes, not one of them. Leonard subconsciously looked at Miss Judgment, who was also a newcomer, but he realized that she was apparently aware of this and had remained rather calm. This, Miss Magician has privately kept Miss Judgment up to speed. Only Leonard doesn't know anything. The fool Klein leaned into his seat and seriously analyzed himself. After he pulled Leonard above the gray fog and assigned him the star card, he had ignored him. He didn't even write to him or introduce the Tarot Club's general situation to him. Compared to women, men truly aren't meticulous with the details. Klein was just about to control the world Jayaman to explain to the star Leonard when he saw the moon Emlyn glance at the poet beside him and say with a rather faint smile, "The Giant King's court is in the forsaken land of the gods." After saying that, he ignored Leonard's reaction and he said to the sun, "Have you obtained the ingredients to Priest of Light?" He knew that someone had only received the formula just 1 to 2 weeks ago. "Yes, I've gotten it from Mr. World," Derek answered honestly, but he didn't go into the details of the transaction. At this moment, Leonard's mind was filled with the words "forsaken land of the gods" and "Giant King's court." He had a feeling like he had walked out of a fantasy or myth. He instinctively reassessed his knowledge of the Tarot Club, realizing the weight of the simple words of how the members come from different places. Even the churches of the 7 deities are unable to find the forsaken land of the gods, but the Tarot Club can do so. It has even roped in a member from there. Right? Isaac Eggers, who I believe wields the death card, doesn't appear at the gathering. Apart from the members here, there are others that come directly under Mr. Fool. It's as I first imagined. It's a secret organization that might develop into an orthodox church. It's not much weaker than the Aurora Order or Rose School of Thought, and it might even be stronger in certain aspects. This is really a divine council. Amidst Leonard's thoughts, Alger agreed with Derek's guess. That's what it is. Exploring the Giant King's court is a very dangerous matter. He wishes that you quickly grow stronger to resist that elder shepherd's level. Derek nodded in vague acknowledgement. I get it, thank you, Mr. Hanged Man. He then shared information about what he saw at Noise City, leaving Leonard and Zio dumbfounded. They had no idea how such a strange state and atmosphere was generated. However, the fool Klein noticed something familiar. He felt that Noise City and the foggy town resembled each other to a certain degree. The walking crowd was suspected to be lifeless marionettes. Could it be that there's a higher sequence item of the seer pathway or some monster there? Klein didn't say a word as he silently took note of Noise City. At this moment, Zio glanced at the world and said, showcasing some goodwill, MI9 has recently been investigating JM and Sparrow's origins.